Welcome to Back to Basics. I'm Gonzalo. Today we are going to talk about how to deploy your machine learning models for real-time predictions. Some years ago, I was involved in the development of a machine learning model for a recommendations engine. I really wanted to avoid the deployment process. It was stressful and complicated. In one of our deployments, we released the wrong machine learning model into production. It took us more than 3 hours to roll it back. We are very lucky these days because we have the tools and the patterns to avoid those mistakes. Before talking about the architectural patterns, let's talk about the basic setup for this scenario. The first step is creating an endpoint configuration in Amazon SageMaker. In this configuration, you add information like the name of your model, how many instances you want to use to serve your model, and the type of them. Besides, you have to create your Amazon SageMaker endpoint. Consumers of the model can use this endpoint to make real-time inferences. A common way to reach that endpoint is using an Amazon API gateway and an Amazon Lambda function. But what about deploying new versions of your model? Like in any software deployment, even after performing some high-quality testing, you want to minimize risk. It would be just too risky to replace one version by the other one. And what about when you perform any mistake? How can you roll it back quickly? One way to do it is using BlueGreen deployments. You have a blue environment with the current production model and a green environment with the new version you want to release. You can define the setup for these environments and how much traffic to send to each of them in the endpoint configuration. You keep the real traffic going to the blue environment, and you can directly test your green environment by specifying a parameter in your request. Only when you are confident about your new version of the model, you switch the customer's traffic to it using an API call. Even better, at any time, if your new version is not working correctly, you can perform an API call and roll it back to the previous version. Far easier than some years ago, right? But let's talk about a different problem now. Sometimes you want to test different variants of your model with real users. One option for this could be testing your variants one by one, but that's not efficient, and that could take ages depending on your use case. Luckily, we have A/B testing for that. With A/B testing, you can have different variants of your model in production and decide how much traffic to send to each of them. Then, you can use Amazon CloudWatch to compare some high-level metrics and decide who is the winner version. As you can see, this pattern is similar to the BlueGreen deployments. You create your configuration endpoints with all your variants and the weight you want to give to each of them. Then, after monitoring your results, you can choose the winner and redirect all the traffic to it. I love these patterns because allow me to experiment and reduce risk. If you want to deploy new versions of your machine learning model, BlueGreen deployments are awesome. If you want to experiment with many variants of your model at the same time, A/B testings are the way to go. Click the links below if you want more details. Thank you for watching Back to Basics. See you next time.